What's up, everybody? I just finished filming just a couple of news videos here today, and I thought it would be fun to just do a studio tour. It's been a long time since I've done like an official studio tour. I don't know that I've actually done one on the channel in years, and I've been working really hard at updating this space, and I thought it would be fun to make a video. I'll probably release this video to my members first, and then to the general YouTube audience. And I also thought that it'd be nice to point out some of the gear that I use in my YouTube studio in my office, and to show you all some of the ways that as a non-classically trained person in this industry, in this niche, where I've had to figure out a lot of things on my own because I have a tendency to just kind of beat my head against the wall when I have to figure something out. So I'm probably doing half of this 100% wrong. So, but I wanted to show it to everybody and kind of give you a heads up. So right now I am sitting at my desk, which is not only where I film, but it's also where I edit. I can move this up and down. And so you can see here from my desk is here. I've got my main camera in my teleprompter. And then you can see the view, right? This is the view that you would normally get if you were watching one of my videos. And I have this view set up in a very particular way for some very specific reasons. Primarily these two bookcases, here and here, when looking at them from here, they actually land right on the third lines. So they frame up my shot. That's the first thing. The other reason that I have this backdrop set up in the way that I do, and why my desk is a little further back from the wall, is both to give me, space so that I can get in here and really kind of work on this stuff and get to what I need to, that I can create the kind of depth and framing, again, that I need for my shots. And it still gives me enough room to set up all of my other lighting. You may have seen in a previous video, I mentioned that I'm starting this area here to be set up as sort of a podcast interview nook. But I do use all of the gear on these bookcases. This is all my stuff that I use every day. And then this is kind of my prep table. This is where I keep any and all pieces of equipment that I might need for the day, or for any shoots that I'm doing, or for any videos that I'm recording. And then when I need to head out, I've got there's my Peak Design travel bag, but I kind of keep all my other stuff here. I've got, lens cloths, and then in these drawers, I've got other various tools and supplies. My desk itself, I've got a Samsung 32-inch Odyssey widescreen display that I do most of my editing on, and then my MacBook. The only other thing that I'd mention is that I do have these IKEA curtain drape things to keep out the sun, obviously, because this is a window. They do an okay job. It's a little better at night. So I think that's a good start when talking about the kind of general layout. Now let me actually walk you through each thing. We'll start with lights. Okay, so all the lights that you see here and on my bookcase, these are all Hue lights. They're not the best, but I've had them for a while. They seem to have survived all of my various torture that I put them through, and so that's what I have there. I also have a strip light that goes around the back of my desk, and more than anything, that is just kind of for me and for fun. I actually turn that off when I'm recording videos. So that kind of sets the general ambiance for the view that you would get. That's kind of what sets the color tone behind me. The next light that I want to show you is this guy here. This is a Sirui CS200B. And it is going through their projector modifier lamp. And that's how you're getting this on the background. And then I'm shooting that through a Gobo. And I have a bunch of Gobos. So I keep just a bunch of them here. But I really like the look that gives the back wall, kind of simulating the sunlight. So that is a 200 watt light back there. And that works out pretty well. Next, you'll notice up here on this C-stand arm, I've got a small rig super clamp, and I've got a Zhiyun C100 LED bar light. I use that as kind of a rim light for myself, or in some cases I'll use it if I'm doing product shots on the table here. I'll actually use it to try to light those products up just a little bit. I have another one of those that sits back here, down here on the floor, and that just kind of lights up the wall a little bit if I want to add some separation between me and my background when I'm sitting at the desk. So one of the things that I really like about this light is that I can manipulate using the barn doors, like how much light spill I get. So if I just want it to hit the back of my head, I can. So you'll notice I also have this ball mount here with the Arca Swiss plate, and that is so that if I want to, I can use it to do product shots over here on the desk as a top-down view. Okay, lastly, let's take a look at our key light here, which is a Godox SL60W. This is a very old and low power light. I actually have it running at 100% right now. And that's because my Godox 220 that I would normally have in this spot broke. And they sent me another one, and I haven't set it up yet. Now, I'm not gonna talk too much about diffusion or light modifiers, that sort of thing, but I do have, this is actually from my 5-in-1 diffusion, panel system that has the reflector and the gold and the black and all that. And I just mounted it to the ceiling and I just have it hanging here. And it's really nice because when I don't want it here, I can actually just kind of pull it out and kind of just slides right up there. And there, if I want a sharper light and I don't want the diffusion, I have it in that way. And there is my newer Giganto Octabox with the honeycomb grid. Okay, next let's talk about cameras. Now I'm shooting on the R5 right now, but my primary video camera is the R6 Mark II. And let me kind of show you how I have that set up. I'm gonna add a little light just to make it a little easier to see. So I've got the R6 Mark II set up with a constant battery, and I have it set up with an HDMI out and the mic out. The HDMI out is going to my newer F700 field monitor, and the audio is going to my Rode Video Pro microphone. On the front, I have this going through just an inexpensive kind of teleprompter device that I have hooked up with an old iPad. So this is actually an old 10.5-inch iPad Pro from 2017. Works wonderfully as a teleprompter, absolutely phenomenal. And then I have all of that mounted onto a Manfrotto 190 BX tripod. And I've taken the tripod head off and everything is just kind of bolted in place. That way it's relatively secure. And then you can see I've got pretty much everything on C-stands. And then last but not least, we're gonna go into the gear vault. So this is my gear vault closet area. This is where I keep all my junk. So I've got all my tools and everything that I use to fix and, kind of manipulate stuff. I've got microphones up here, GoPro, Insta360, and charging batteries. So if I want a product to be kind of sitting over on the desk, or if I want to manipulate it with my hands, I'm going to use a slider to just kind of move it back and forth to give us that motion. I've got a little screen so I can see what's going on there. Other than that, the gear vault is just kind of full of stuff. Here's that 220 from Small Rig that's going to get replaced. I've got this 300 watt light that I'm in the process of reviewing. This is where I keep my loop deck editor that I never use. And again, just kind of, filters and tools and bags and lights and just, everything else that I need either on a photo or a video shoot. But yeah, everything in here is practical. It's all for a reason. It's all been kind of thought out. I don't know if you noticed up here, I've got paper that I can pull down that I've actually used for portrait shoots in here if I needed to. And I've got more of this acoustic wall paneling that I'm going to be putting up because I want to insulate this room just a little bit better, and I want to be doing more long form video and podcast stuff. So that's it for my studio. This is the office that I use both to record most of my videos, to edit all of my videos. If I'm not somewhere else in the house watching the kids with the laptop on my lap, but otherwise this is what I'm using every day. So I'd love to hear from you. What does your office look like? What's your studio look like? What's your primary workspace look like? And what tools or strategies have you used to implement a multi-purpose work environment that's conducive for efficiency and saving space? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching.